Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Welcome to another Boulevard journal. I put a little question mark by it because I'm going to be up front. This isn't really going to be a super exciting video. This is honestly kind of just an update video to kind of just explain where I've been for the past 8-9 months, however long it's been since I last uploaded a video. But yeah, you know, my last video was back in March. I uploaded it the day before I started my new current job. I didn't upload that video with the intention of quote unquote giving up, but I started work and then I got like so tired from working that I just didn't really do a whole lot of writing recently. Like I did finish chapter 7 in that time. And that was kind of it. I mean, aside from that, you know, last month I turned 29. I had my birthday. You know, I'm in my last year of my 20s. Old. I got new furniture. You can see, like, you know, like in like my older videos, you know, there's like some shots of me like sitting with like a white wall, and there's kind of like a little like hamper thing like hanging from this thing. Yeah, that's what this is. I got like new furniture because like I mentioned before how like the room that I'm living in is kind of like a room that I ended up moving in kind of in like emergency circumstances. I had a coworker friend who had a room that was available, and I took it here with the expectation that I was only going to be here for like 2 months. And so I never really like fully like moved out into my room for like a year, like living like very like cramped. But I decided to actually just get stuff because you only live once, right? You know, got a record player. That's cool, right? Technically, you're not supposed to like, you know, do stuff like this, go on tangents like this because this kills retention. But you know, I have a new philosophy when it comes to videos, and I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, I can show you. Like, we had like a Moreau album. Why am I doing this? Paradise Killer. This is a good game. You should definitely play it. Really good game. I mentioned one of my characters actually is inspired by the character Shinji from Paradise Killer, actually. Chainsaw Coyote, if you read Chapter 5 of the Omega Universe, some of his personality is based off of Shinji a little bit. We got a Pastel Ghost album. She's more like Dreamwave. It's like Vaporwave. Like, I don't know. Maria's album. We got a Diana Ross album. And we got a Yumi album. But it's the album Kanashi Hodo Tenki. Like the English title here is The Gallery in My Heart, which actually isn't really what it's saying here. This is more like weather that like kind of makes you sad, or like weather that kind of gives off like a sad mood feeling, kind of like, I don't know. Once upon a time I did work professionally as a Japanese to English translator, but those days are long past. And by long past, I mean it was only like a couple years ago. But aside from that very random thing, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about like my new philosophy for my videos and stuff. So back before I took my little break, I was doing like 2 videos a month, right? Like 1 video every 2 weeks, essentially. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm only going to do 1 video a month just because I feel like that's the most sustainable, and honestly, relative to the amount of views that I get per video, making 2 videos a month at my current schedule is just too much. Like, it's not worth it. I have on my notes here, because I took some notes, 2008 era YouTube is what I put. And that's kind of what it is. Like, this video here, right, is just like a quick little update talking about, you know, my life and things of that sort. You know, not one of those fancy aesthetic, you know, a week in my life as a writer videos that people have been doing recently. And that's okay. I don't really do enough to really warrant that type of video anyway. So I'm going to be a bit chill. I'm still going to kind of edit out like weird breaks when I'm speaking and stuff. But aside from that, I'm going to start leaving in my random rants and tangents, which I usually cut out in my videos, and kind of just have fun with it, you know? I started like making these videos with the intention of kind of like getting a platform so that people could start reading my stuff. But first, I'm not even sure that's going to work. It's like, actually, I'm attracting a very different audience from what I think would be interested in my main project, right? Like statistically, if you're watching this, according to my analytics, you are likely a woman between the ages of 25 to 34. I can tell by my analytics, more than likely you clicked on this video from my channel page rather than it being recommended to you. So more than likely you probably saw a comment that I made on a video and that really resonated with you and you decided to click and check out my channel from there. Whereas my series in Nobunaga universe, like it's kind of like a, you know, it's like a noir style diesel punk detective vigilante thriller type thing, which I think is probably more likely to be popular with men between the ages of 1 million and 2 billion probably. Honestly, I don't know what I'm talking about right now. I just kind of just want to just make things and then upload them, and hopefully people will treat me kinder than they did back in 2008, 2009 when I was in middle school and I was making Let's Play videos and people were absolutely, you know, destroying me in the comments section. Man, they really did not care that I was a kid at all back then. It's actually kind of crazy. But anyway, we've ranted enough, so now I can go ahead and talk about, you know, my story here. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I mentioned before, it's an online screenplay series which is meant to be read. Okay, just want to clarify that. It takes place in an alternate universe, 1950s, post-World War II occupation Japan. It follows two characters, two vigilantes, like superheroes. So in this 7-month period when I was like working on my videos here, I decided to read through all of the chapters of the Omega universe from the beginning just to kind of refresh myself. Because, you know, I started it last year and it's been a while. And, you know, I'm starting to kind of realize that, like, I should probably get a beta reader that I can trust, that I can specifically assign the duty of being my lore master. You know, when you write chapters as infrequently as I do, you can kind of forget stuff, right? And even if you have beta readers, they aren't necessarily going to catch those, you know, plot lore inconsistencies themselves unless they're actively looking for them. So having like an actual like lore master is something that I'm going to work on. I also took some time to like really flesh out the fatherless children a little bit because, you know, I had a decent idea of how they worked, but I never really like worked on the fine details, which is important because they are a major component of the story. So I took the time to really like make a lore document, figure out like their exact beliefs, their exact structure, so that they can feel a lot more realistic and a lot more better ingrained into the story. It's better to do that now while I'm working on chapter 8 than not. But yeah, aside from that, that's mostly it. Just so that there's some point to this video, I am going to do a little bit of outlining. I'm going to film myself outlining from my new setup here. And yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and get into that. General outline for chapter 8. What's the attempt to find this group of rogues that he talked to earlier. Be a pretty cool idea. Not something that you can really wrap up in like one chapter. Okay, so I just finished outlining. I worked on that for, I don't know, about 45 minutes to an hour. It was pretty productive. I'm not even anywhere near close to being finished, but it is what it is. I decided to film in front of my vinyl player because I thought it would make for an interesting shot, but I'm actually blocking it, so it's kind of just weird. It's kind of weird. This is actually like the level, this really low level is actually where I used to do most of my recordings. I mentioned earlier in the video that like I did a read through of all the Omega chapters to kind of like refamiliarize myself with the lore and everything. And I did do that once about like 2 months or so, but actually I did it again, not to be confused with Britney Spears, a couple days ago actually. Just as a little bit of a fun fact. Originally, like one of my ideas for this video was that I was going to like, as part of the video, I was going to like do a read through of like all the chapters, but I chose not to do that and just read it on my own because I wanted to just like read through the chapters with no ulterior motives, no note taking, no nothing. I just wanted to read it just to see what it was like as like an audience member, if you will. I was actually getting kind of addicted to reading it. I was like, oh wow, dang, did I actually write something good for once? with the exception of chapter 6. I thought chapter 6 was a little on the weaker side personally, but we'll get to. But aside from that, that's actually kind of very much impacted my philosophy writing this chapter. I mentioned this before, like in my head, and I think the previous Boulevard Journal, like I picture the story in my head as this really big prestige television, but it's not. And that's not a bad thing, but I shouldn't act like it is something that it is not. It's a fun series. That doesn't mean that it can't have substance, and that doesn't mean that I shouldn't take it seriously, but it's fun. So when it comes to the outline, a lot of times when I've been writing, I've just been like stuck at the outline phase, like, oh my God, I can't do that idea. That's stupid. How do I implement that? This time I'm just like, you know what? If I have an idea, I'm just going to write it down. I'm just going to write it down and then just like actually take the time to actually explore it and write it out. And if after a few bullet points in the outline, I'm like, actually, I don't like this, then I get rid of it. I need to at least try things, throw stuff out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not that type of series. It's the type of series that'll likely get like a niche following, core dedicated fans. At the end of the day, I need to write a story not for the prestige or for the awards or anything like that. I mean, it's not like I was actively trying to do that, but like that was kind of like something you recognize whenever you write something, you at least recognize the potential of what it could do, right? That kind of hindered me, and now I'm just writing what I'd like to read. It's probably still going to take me about like a week or two to like fully finish out the outline. But once that's done, we'll finally get into writing chapter 8, and hopefully I can get that done by the end of this year. This has actually been the least productive writing year that I have had thus far. It is October. I have only written 1 chapter. In comparison to like last year, I posted 6 chapters, and that was already pretty slow compared to the beta universe anyway. I think in the beta universe from 2021 to 2022, over the course of 1 calendar year, I wrote something like 14 chapters. Well, also I can talk about my setup a little bit, I mentioned. So I got a new keyboard, a mechanical keyboard. It's blue. Personally, I wanted something green, but like the problem is I've mentioned this before, the mechanical keyboard community has a weird like vendetta against the numpad that I do not quite understand. This is the most useful thing in existence and was hot swappable. And blue's my second favorite color. I prefer if it was green. So like I was like, okay, I'll make this compromise and I'll get it. Like if you remember in my older videos, you'd see me like literally writing at this level, this like near ground level on this little like thing right here with my laptop computer. Then my laptop randomly, like a few months ago, a display driver crapped out or something. And so like the screen wasn't working. So like what I ended up doing is I moved it over to my desk over there and plugged it into my TV. And I decided to use that as an excuse to get my mechanical keyboard because I've wanted one for a while. I was waiting till I got my own place to get one. It was supposed to be like a sign that I was like fully established and I've made it. But then I was like, actually, that's just dumb. I can just get it now. And so I did. I still use this like little mini thing because at least with my current chair, it's a little too low relative to my table. So like if I like type on the desk, it's a little weird. I take like the mini desk, I connect my keyboard to the laptop like via Bluetooth with like my Bluetooth mouse here, and I just type like this, and this is a lot more comfortable for me. I have rambled for a very long time in this video, and I apologize for that, and I apologize that this was not a super productive Boulevard journal, but sometimes that's just how it be. It is what it is. When you're not like a full-time successful professional writer, it's not always going to be glamorous. I'm kind of like changing my outlook a little bit. Like I used to say, whenever people ask me what I wanted to do, like with my writing, I used to say that I wanted to be the next Neil Gaiman, but I do suppose in light of news that has come out this year, I suppose I might need to change that a little bit. But also, there's like a part of me that's kind of wondering if perhaps I'd be at my happiest if I achieved like a decent amount of success where I could like maybe do writing like part-time while also working part-time with something else outside of the writing space to kind of like find some like other fulfillment outside of writing and kind of like living a semi-normalish life. Then there's also a part of me that wants to get like super rich and not necessarily famous, but just like super rich and then buy like one of those like old money mansions in the Midwest and then dying of like mysterious circumstances when I'm like 92 and then having it become like a haunted mansion. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm just gonna ask you guys a couple questions. How's your writing journey doing? What are you working on? In the past month, if you could like let me know what your favorite line is that you've written thus far, and add a little like, we'll say a caterpillar emoji at the end of it, just to show that you watched through the whole thing. That'd be kind of cool. I saw Kelly and Len doing the whole add an emoji to the comment thing, and I just kind of wanted to tag along because I don't know. Anyway, LCS if you want to, don't if you don't want to. I'll see you later. Bye.